why we should work with direct shippers, should we avoid working with direct shippers. And if you're new to this channel, welcome. My name is Kamal. In this channel, we specifically talk about trucking. More specifically, let me turn this off real quick. There you go. Awesome. So we'll be talking about today, working with the independent freight dispatchers and the carriers, working directly with direct shippers. I want you to understand one thing, and I think if we just keep these 2 points in mind throughout this video, I think everything will make sense. Understand one thing is that the transportation industry is brutally competitive and it's capital intensive business. If you keep these 2 points in mind, everything will make sense to you. So I want to ask this question before we go deep dive into this and then talk about why working with direct shippers. Everybody talks about, I would say, carriers, and I'm not even talking about the brokers, because shippers, they are the number one customers for brokers. So I'm just excluding the brokers. This video is specifically for carriers and independent freight dispatchers. I want to just use carriers interchangeably, since independent freight dispatchers represent carriers. I will just call them throughout this video as carriers. So this video specifically for carriers, and I would say more specifically for carriers who are hustling. I want to grow their, they want to grow their businesses. And for independent freight dispatchers, obviously want to serve carriers. As I said in the beginning of this video, is that there are a lot of truckers and carriers, including the independent freight dispatchers. They think about, if I work with direct shippers, and I will get high paying loads from them. But obviously it's not true. And by the way, I'm not saying that you don't need to work with direct shippers. And I'm saying that, well, I'm not even saying that you need to work with direct shippers or not to work with direct shippers. Basically, in today, I will be just giving you the advantages and disadvantages, and so you can decide, right? And we've been in business, and with the import export business, we work with a lot of direct shippers, and I share direct shippers list with my students, specifically for construction materials, for example. And personally, I was a carrier, and I worked with a lot of direct shippers, and I know, I'm not going to say the ins and outs of this business, but I know I have the experience working with direct shippers. So I want to share some of the key points I think you need to keep in mind if you're an independent freight dispatcher, you're representing a carrier, and maybe your carrier says, hey, I need help with direct shippers. So let me pull the Julia says, hello, how you doing? Doing cold calling as we speak. Awesome. So I'll come back to questions. Let's go real quick about this key points. This is very, very important. Remember, I said that you need to remember these 2 key points, is that one of them is trucking industry is brutally expensive, brutally competitive, and it's capital intensive business. When I say capital intensive business, money in the trucking industry is huge, right? It's huge. So there is Familia, I think. Hello, Kamal. Javier. Hi, Javier. How you doing? So I'll come back to your questions, please. If you have those, please prepare those. It's very, very important. I know most of you, specifically for carriers, they're really interested in working with direct shippers. The working with direct shippers, one thing is that keeping in mind that we need money like yesterday. Remember the capital, intensive business. If you contracted with, this is what I saw, and then I have a lot of friends and families, specifically in Atlanta, Georgia, that working with direct shippers. At least they worked with direct shippers, and I have an experience, is that number one problem, I think, or the most important problem, is to get paid by the shippers. Usually what will happen is, if you get this agreement of like 30-day net pay, well, it's awesome, right? Think about, when I say 30-day net pay, you do the work for the shipper, and then you get paid 30 days later, right? If you do that, well, it's good, but then it's like, listen, they're like net 60, and then they're net 90-day net pay, and then they're even 120-day, net pay. Think about it that way. So when I say, um, the money is a problem, meaning capital intensive business, keep this in mind that when you're going, out there and trying to connect with specifically carriers, connect with direct shippers, you need to understand that, hey, there is like net 90, 60, 60, 90, and 120 days to get paid, right? So I'll be coming back to your questions. Yes, factoring is a part of the deal, but think about, so if you're working with, brokers, then obviously working with the, factoring companies, it's awesome. It's a good deal. But working with direct shippers is kind of totally different world. So we'll be going into this. Um, so think about when I first started, attracting these, independent, the shippers, trying to get to win their business, meaning get contract loads. Think about the compliance part of it and then the qualification part of it. I'm not even talking about the compliant part of it. They will be looking at every detail of your paperwork. Well, let's say you're compliant and you okay with that. But then this qualification process, this is what I saw, and then this is pretty common. The qualification is, think about like number of trucks that you should have, and think about like even cosmetics, the way your truck looks, the year, the mileage, the maintenance. It's just like this, the compliant part and the qualifying part, or the qualification part. It's huge. Now think about, one is the money problem, obviously getting paid, and then second is the qualification and compliance. So these are the two important things. And obviously, the the thing is that the name of the game, obviously here, the brokers. And by the way, I'm not a broker, and I know that they're, they have some reputation, some of them good reputation, some of them bad reputation out there. But I'm not, talking about the brokers. But think about, not even, think about one thing. It's just like, well, keep this in mind. I'm not on the broker side, right? Neither I'm just blaming them, but I'm kind of in the middle. I'm getting there, and then obviously at the end, I'll be sharing with you the right way of doing the business. And again, specifically if you're starting out and maybe you're hustling, trying to grow your trucking business, this is very important. If you're going and then want to work with a direct shipper, most of them, they prefer working with brokers, and there is a reason why shipper prefer working with brokers, even though they know how the brokers might behave, the cutting, they get paid more, but then carriers do the work, but they get paid less. Well, talk about this, but again, think about, it's just like broker, to simply put, brokers, they have army of carriers, right? It's think about, like, they have hundreds of thousands of list of carriers on their database. And now it's even worse if you're just an owner operator, and if you have just one truck and want to go and then, hey, I want to work with direct shippers and trying to win the contract from the direct shipper. It's not going to work. Why is that? Think about, if you mess up the deal, if something happens, you damage the load or something like that, it's just out of business. That's it. Meaning out of the contract, right? But if I'm a shipper and I'm working with the broker, think about the possibilities this broker has. A lot of carriers that we can replace carriers just like this. Think about broker versus you going with, even if you're a carrier, let's say you have 4 or 5 trucks. Think about, you have 10 trucks and you want to work with the direct shipper. Well, I want you to think about, it doesn't matter how many trucks you have, you still want one carrier, right? So you are a single carrier, and this carrier might have, I don't know, 10, 15 trucks, but then it's just like, it's one carrier. But think about the broker has hundreds of thousands of carriers. If somebody messes up, that's it. It's like end deal, right? And then brokers can replace with another carrier just like that, right? And another thing is the ongoing relationship. And I had about 6 close direct shippers that I work in there, specifically in Atlanta, Georgia, in the private sector. And the ongoing relationship is just huge, right? It's like, if you You're just like, think about, you are picking up loads and then dropping up loads. You're really busy, but at the same time, you need to just keep this relationship with the shippers. This is very, very important. One key, this is very I hope you're taking notes. This is very huge. I want you to understand one thing, specifically carriers, that you will never beat the broker's price or the offer for the the direct shipper. Think about there as a manufacturer, maybe distribution center, or just supplier, or a shipper. Think about just a shipper. You go and you want to build a relationship with them and then win their business so that you can get contract and then get high paying loads from them. And then you must know that they're in the market. There are hundreds of thousands of brokers out there. They're targeting this exact same shipper. Think about that, right? And then when I say that you would never bid the price that brokers offer, right? Think about, I'll give you an example. If you say, hey, I want to charge, for example, I don't know, $3 per mile for your flatbed, and then brokers will come in and say, hey, I'll move this for about 2.5 or something like that. I will just want you to think that way. And why is that? Another way of thinking is just think about like wholesale buyer, right? And then you're a kind of retailer buyer, if that makes sense. So just keep in mind that when you go there and then you want to work with direct shippers, obviously, I teach this to my students that, hey, yes, you want to go and you want to work with direct shippers and you want to help your carriers to work with direct shippers. You need to understand this. This is very, very important that you have a lot of competition in this, just winning the direct shippers business. Another thing that this is very important is that think about the detentions. Detentions, huge problem in the trucking industry. So if you're a carrier, you know this. If you're a broker watching this, you know this. Maybe you're an independent freight dispatcher that you dealt with. Maybe you're dealing with this. The detention. Detention is it's basically the shipper or the receiver side detaining you for, I don't know, for some operational reasons, for example, right? And then hundreds of thousands of, maybe even millions of dollars. Think about, and why you think that it's a huge problem, because broker, think about, they don't want to mess up this contract. They don't want to lose this contract just because a single carrier says, hey, something happened and I've been sitting for about 10 hours, I really need to get paid. It's a huge problem. Broker don't want to lose the contract. Think about, right? So to them, meaning to the broker, losing a carrier, it's okay because they have a lot of carriers on their database. But then the broker that, hey, this hard-earned business, they don't want to lose them, right? It's very, very important. And one thing is, I want you to remember this is very, very important. I hope you're taking notes. Is that what I realize is, I do have a lot of friends in the freight industry, specifically brokers. They're really good at negotiating the long-term agreements. And I'm not saying that we are really bad at negotiating, but think about, their daily work is to negotiate and make phone calls or sales calls. They just developing this skill, and we are carriers. We're just busy picking up loads and dropping off, and then dealing with drivers and dealing with I don't know, the day-to-day operation with our businesses. And we're not good at, and I mean that because I was a carrier. I had about 4 trucks, and we're not good at negotiating the contracts. And I remember two of my friends in the car hauling business, I was just with them. It's just out of curiosity. I would just want to go with them. They were negotiating to win a specific area so that they can haul cars for this company, for example. And they're doing really good in their businesses, millions of dollars in their business. They're really good at dispatching, running their trucking companies. But when it comes to negotiating, and I realized that no, it's not some. What I'm saying is, yes, we're not good at negotiating the long term the deals with the shipper and shippers. Think about, maybe we're really good at something, but we're not really good at negotiating, but we definitely can develop. But the point here is that, hey, just keep in this in mind, is that when you go and trying to negotiate with the direct shippers, they're think about they're business owners. And most of the like direct shippers that I have in mind right now, when I mean this quote unquote direct shippers, they move hundreds of thousands of loads per week. Right? I'm not talking about the small shipper out there. I don't know, ships two couple of I don't know two to the 10 maybe for 15 shipments per month or something like that. No, I'm talking about like these shippers that they are sending hundreds of thousands of loads per week. So I really want you to think about this. um and if you're an owner operator, you have your truck and you have your trailer and you driving it, think about working with these direct shippers. I don't think operationally it doesn't make any sense to me, because they're not even seeing this single owner operator with just one truck, right? So I hope this helps, guys. This is huge when it comes to working with independent freight dispatchers. So now, then what next? Okay, so now we have these points. Now we understood. Okay, so we'll just keep this in mind. Remember at the beginning of this video, I said, hey, this specifically for carriers and obviously independent freight dispatchers, and specifically for people who are just wanted to go into the business. They need to keep this in mind. And for those carriers out there that are hustling, trying to, grow their businesses, I would highly recommend, because I was there and I know, it firsthand, because I had an experience that, hey, I think building a relationship with brokers and working and using the load boards, I think is the best option when you starting out. This is very, very important, right? So that would be my suggestion. So if you're really good at, I don't know, negotiating, you're just like, hey, only customers I have, they're the shippers. I don't want to work with brokers. I know what I'm doing. Hey, more power to you, right? I'm speaking to those people who are struggling, they're hustling, right? And people, they want to go into this business and they don't know about, like, I don't know, maybe even load boards. What they know is like, hey, I want to serve these direct shippers that, hey, listen, it's not what you think. It's not about, this high paying loads. And I want to share this, story with you. And I, realized that it shocked me. Some brokers, they're not even making money out of loads. In some loads, what I'm trying to say, they're losing money, but then in some other loads, they're winning the money, right? So they're kind of balancing. They know what they're doing, be honest with you, right? So you're going out there and then you want to win, I don't know, the business from a shipper, and it says, hey, if you are a flatbed, I'll pay 2.8 per mile, and then this is my lane, and this is what I do, and this is what I move, right? So it's like, think about, and then broker comes and again cut you off, right? Because even if they're losing the money, they want to win the game, and then they get the contract, and then they go from there. So be honest with you, I'm not gonna go into like details how the system work. One reason is that I'm not a broker. What I heard and what I see from my friends and families that they're in this business, but mainly these are the important points that you just need to keep in mind when you're going out there and you're trying to win a business with the shippers. So let me start taking some of your questions. And let's see if you guys have a lot of questions. Awesome. So you guys liking it? Awesome. So let me know your question. Okay, doing cold calling. Okay, awesome. So in Atlanta, okay, let's see. You have to wait. Okay, what is it? Net 90. Sometimes, yes, they they do, as I said, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, and 120. And trust me, there are some people out there, they're okay with waiting for 30 days, maybe waiting for, I don't know, even 90 days. Why? Maybe they're cash flow positive. They don't even thinking about, excuse me, they're thinking about the money for them is not problem, right? Maybe they paid off their trucks, maybe trailers. Working with shippers, is this what they want, for example, and they can wait, no problem. But majority of trucking companies out there, they need money like yesterday. And I've been there. I know. I needed money, and we like bleeding money every single day. This is very, very important. Think about there's one repair, for example, something happens in a small parts on a truck, it costs thousands of dollars. Think about it's just like truck goes into the shop and goes, it's like you get the invoice, it's like tens of thousands of dollars. Be honest with you. It starts with like 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. It's crazy, right? Replacing, and you need this, part to replace. I'm not even talking about the engine, or I'm not talking about the transmission. It's just like small parts here and there. It costs you thousands of dollars. It's just, it's crazy, be honest with you. Okay, how do I start with no money? What I can say to this: no money, no honey. Be honest with you, right? So, let's see. So we have the Facebook. Um, for some reason, and again, I don't see the names, but isn't that the point for having factoring? I think we covered this. Yes, working with brokers, it's easy. Connecting with factoring companies, but think about working with direct shippers is totally different world. Okay. Let me see. Let's take this. What is the best and easiest way to dispatch to get paid? Be more specific. When you say like, what's the best and easiest way to dispatch to get paid? What do you exactly mean? Like get paid on a load, or are you looking for like strategies? Be specific, and then I'll do my best to help you. Um, Let me see. Put in the work to get carriers. Okay, it's not easy starting out. Absolutely, I totally agree with this. Yes. Okay, thank you. Would that be for the DAT program? Not sure about this question, be honest with you. That's for your business registration and logo design and small stuff you're gonna need. Okay. Let's see. Let me take this. Why would you ever agree to 30 days net as an independent dispatcher working with the shipper? Okay, here you go. I'm glad you asked. At least in the United States, by law, it's illegal independent freight dispatchers going out there and win the shipper's business or represent a shipper. You cannot do that, right? If you want to do that, then you are looking for business license, basically. I mean, the broker's license. Basically, you're becoming a broker. What I meant is that this is for specifically for carriers, right? And your if you're an independent freight dispatcher, your customer is a carrier, right? So if carrier agrees to get 30-day net pay, for example, with the shipper, and it's okay with the carrier, then you must agree with the carrier to get paid early. For example, I don't know, as soon as I send my invoice, I must get paid, so to speak. It's all about the agreement that you have with the carrier. Okay, I hope that helps. The surety bond and insurance, yes, absolutely. Let me see. Let me take this question real quick. You can get on DAT for free under someone discount code for 30 days. Yes, there's a link below this video, guys, for DAT Power and then Trackers Edge Pro. You can use that link, and it's an affiliated link. It's no additional cost to you. I am the authorized reseller for the DAT load boards. You can check them out for 30 days. It's a free trial. Links are below this video if you wanted to check it out. So let's do. Let me go take this question real quick. Kamal, what happens if both carrier and shipper both don't have the BOL? Like, how that possible, right? So how that possible? So if you had an experience like if they don't have the BOL, then share that story with us. So if a shipper doesn't have a BOL, then why carrier picks up the load, for example, right? So think about that. Let's see. Okay, so let me take this question real quick. What's the first thing to do after my course? So, what's the first thing to do is attending. If you're one of our students, coaching students, then obviously the first thing right after finishing the course, attending the live Q&As or the coaching sessions that we have every Monday and Thursday. Please do. Let's see if we have questions. Let me see. Okay, let me take this question real quick. Can you be a broker from abroad? You can be independent freight dispatcher abroad. Be honest with you, I'm not a broker, right? I never studied to be a broker. I never had an interest to become a broker. So for those reasons, I can't help you. But you can definitely work as an independent freight dispatcher from abroad, no problem. We can talk about this. Let's see. let me take this, and I'm picking those questions that are specifically related to this topic, right? Can you get shipper to pay sooner than 30 days? There are some shippers, and again, think about the shippers that I'm talking about. They're shipping hundreds of thousands of loads per week. This is what I'm talking about when I say shippers. And then obviously they're like small size shippers that you can obviously agree on a 5-day or 7-day or 15-day or something like that, right? But the point is very common, the 30-day, 60-day and 90 days, and then obviously 120 days. Yeah, this is pretty common. Let me see. So what time Monday and Thursday? Mondays 12 p.m. Eastern time, and then Thursdays are 3 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, so let's see. Let me take this. So should the driver cancel the load on the shipper side and ask for tonneau? Tonneau, for those of you who don't know, is the truck order not used. And when you say driver, do you mean like he's an owner operator and drives his truck, meaning he's a carrier, or you're talking about the carrier and he has a driver, and then he goes there and then he want to cancel? How come? Like, why my driver canceling the load without talking to me, for example, right? So it's possible that the driver can say, hey, I don't want to haul this freight. Yes, it's possible. It's another way. So if this driver says that it cancels, obviously what I would do is like look for another driver, right? So if it's easily cancels the loads and I don't want to haul this freight, or the load, well, in transportation, anytime can happen. I totally understand this, but what can I do? It's just like he can park somewhere and then we'll be looking for another load, right? Just keep moving. So awesome questions, guys. And again, we do these live Q&A coaching sessions, I would say, every Tuesdays and Fridays. So please, if you have questions, please let me know. If you really have ideas about, like, do you want me to talk about specific topic, please let me know in the comments section on this YouTube channel. And be honest with you guys, there are a lot of videos that you can watch about accessing the load boards, getting the direct shipper freight, and even we have the classes how you can become independent freight dispatcher. All the links below. So for those of you, if you're a carrier, or if you're a carriers, guys, they're like a factoring company. I work with the OTR Capital, and you can check the links below this video. So it's awesome, guys. Well, thank you. What I'll do is that I'll end the live session for today, and then we'll come back on Friday, and we'll go from there. Thanks.